What's up, everybody? Mark with Coffee&Toys here, wanting to give a quick little update now that we are about 36 hours into the GI Joe Classified Series HasLab XH1 DragonFly, Operation DragonFly. So at this point right now, I just looked before I started filming this. It's just a hair under 11,000 backers. So first of all, congratulations to each and every one of you that has already backed this HasLab. Obviously, it funded within, I think they said 26 hours. So kudos to everyone that has backed that. If you are not backing it, drop a comment below. I'd kind of like to know why you don't want to back it. Is it too expensive? Is it too large? Just not the vehicle you like or enjoy? I'd really like to hear. So drop a comment if you wouldn't mind. But yeah, I kind of wanted to give my thoughts and feelings on what's been going on. I did a news burst yesterday about it saying that it was up, so hopefully you were able to see that and watch that video. If not, everybody was reporting on it. It was all over social media for collecting, and I just wanted to do another video now, kind of after the initial hype is worn off, saying my thoughts and feelings around this whole HasLab. So, once again, I think the price point, starting off there, because that's probably the number one thing everybody talks about, the price point is fantastic. $275 US. After shipping, for me, after shipping and taxes, it's going to be right around $298, I think is what my invoice said. So I have only backed one of them at this point, mostly because I don't know what I would do multiple. I'm certainly not going to get 5 like I did with the Sky Striker. Even if I was going to sell the extra ones or piecemeal them out to help pay for what I have, keep one in box, one to display and whatnot, and get rid of the rest. That's just too big of boxes for me to personally have. And again, if I bought 5 of them, I'd be dropping over $1,500 in change. So yeah. I think though that the price point, like I said, is excellent. It's a great value, especially since it's cheaper than the His Tank. You're getting a larger vehicle, and very good job by Hasbro to reduce the price while increasing the number of backers. I mean, they've got the data there from both the Sky Striker and the His Tank, especially the His Tank, to see what it takes to fund one of these classified HasLabs. And anytime you can make that price point lower, the entry level lower, you're going to get the backers. I mean, so they've got the data. And I did the quick number crunching. I think it was to do the His Tank to meet the price point times number of minimum backers came up to about $2.4 million. This HasLab actually comes up to about $2.75 million. And obviously it's going to cost more because this is a larger piece, and it's still going to have electronics, and it's still going to have, pieces that you can put on, and it's going to require obviously all new tooling, including new characters. So, and right now, so $275, 10,000 backers makes total sense from a business perspective. Kudos to Hasbro for keeping that price point under $300. Because and I said it in one of my other videos, that I was certain, I would have bet money on it, that this HasLab was going to be around the $400 mark. So congratulations, Hasbro. Another successful HasLab for the GI Joe brand. Congratulations to all the fans of the GI Joe collectors and fans that have already jumped into this. Now, excuse me while I take a drink. By the way, just Folgers Silk tonight. I have a little bit of heartburn, not from the coffee, but it's been nagging in the back of my mind that I just bought another HasLab, another GI Joe Classified, bought into another GI Joe Classified HasLab, and I don't have the first HasLab classified vehicle yet. And that, for some reason, is just sitting in the back of my mind. Like, here I am again. I have no idea what the His Tank's going to be as its final product. I haven't had the opportunity to see it, live, at a ComicCon or anything like that. I've seen the pictures online and the videos, but I have no idea what I'm getting. And here I am already saying, yeah, I'll back another one. I don't know. It's kind of twofold. It bothers me on one hand because here I am saying this bothers me, and I don't have a product in hand to compare this to for the one I'm supporting now. But here I am supporting one now because I support a product I don't have. It's really weird. It's cyclical almost. I don't think I would have ran a HasLab for a line that I've already ran a HasLab for that I haven't delivered on. I think I would have pushed it out and waited longer. But I understand why they do this. They do it in the summer. They do it before or the spring, I guess. They do it before San Diego ComicCon, which is excellent. So you can get those dollars early before people start dropping money on San Diego ComicCon, or you don't make the people choose. You say, hey, well, you make them choose in the sense that you've got to deliver it. You've got to jump on this bandwagon of classified now, or you're going to miss it because we're not going to redo it. That's kind of the whole point of a HasLab, right? So they're getting those San Diego Comic-Con dollars. And if they pushed it too late, you'd be in the Christmas time, and you'd have an issue there because people wouldn't be able to buy it and or, Christmas gifts or whatnot for friends, loved ones, etc., etc. So I get why they're doing it right now. But yeah, just that whole nagging feeling of I'm buying another HasLab before I've actually got the goods from the other HasLab. Now we could argue that, well, they've had a GI Joe HasLab and it's the Sky Striker over there. And, people said it was good. Some people said it wasn't so good. Now, if you're in the camp where you said, hey, I bought a HasLab Sky Striker and it wasn't so good, but I jumped in on the His Tank anyway, then you're kind of in the same boat. You're saying I'm hoping that the classified one is good as I support this next classified one. I don't know. I don't mean to be rambling, but it is one of those things that just kind of sits in the back of my mind that, 11,000 or nearly 11,000 backers so far of this DragonFly. And we don't even know if I'm assuming most of those 11,000 people have a His Tank on the way. So that brings me to my next point I wanted to discuss. And that's kind of where we see these final numbers going to. There's, 40 some days left in this campaign. I believe 40 some days, odd hours. July 17th, let's put it that way. Well over a month to go. And they're already at, we'll call it 11,000. Where do we see this? Do we see this overtaking the His Tank, which I think was around 26,000 after it was all said and done? Or do we think it's going to start tapering off very quickly? I will say that as I've watched the numbers today, they have started, I won't say they're plateauing because I don't think that's right. It's still on an upward trajectory. Let's see, they broke 10,000 at 26 hours, and they're almost at 11,000 now. I guess it is kind of tapering off from the first day, but it's still got some ride, some momentum. But what will we be able to break 26,000? My gut tells me yes, just because of the price point alone. It's going to be easier for people to get in on that lower level. Even, like I said, there's something mental about seeing $300 over kind of triggers something. But if you see it sub 300, you can get on it. Now, I have seen people say, oh, no, I wouldn't pay $100 for that. I wouldn't pay $200 for that. For those people that say that, you're crazy. Evidently, you don't like big vehicles that are cool looking. And do you like classified? That's not really meant to be as a knock. I just heard it out loud, and it kind of sounds like that. It's like $275 for a vehicle of this scale and size with the features it has right now. And fully well knowing it'll probably blow through all the tiers. Totally worth it for what could become 4 figures and a vehicle. At $25 a figure, do the math, that's actually winds up being $175 for the DragonFly. A lot of this isn't new to most of you. A lot of you are very thoughtful, intelligent individuals, or you wouldn't be watching this channel. That being said, I think the final number is going to be right around 30,000. I think this is going to be something that there's no other HasLabs going on right now. I don't know of any that are coming up soon. Certainly nothing's been announced yet. I think by the time this HasLab ends, prior to San Diego Comic-Con, depending on what gets announced for San Diego Comic-Con as far as exclusives are concerned, Hasbro might play it close to the chest and say, hey, we're not going to announce anything until after the HasLab ends. And I think that would be a smart thing. You can get all those different collectors from different lines, Marvel, Star Wars, yada, yada. Just don't say anything that you're going to deliver until after that campaign ends to get maximum visibility for the HasLab. So I think they'll hit around 30,000. I just feel like that's going to be the goal. Now the question is, if they hit that crazy mark in my head, will they add anything to the HasLab? My gut says if they are able to just storm through all the tiers before the 40 days remaining, they'll throw something else on. And they'll throw something else on. I don't think it'll be another tier though. I think it'll be like, like similar with the His Tank. It's been a while. Didn't they like announce additional pieces that were going to attach to it? And they just kind of said, yeah, we're doing this too. I can't remember, but I feel like it'll be something like that. I'd be like, oh, here, we're just going to throw this in for the DragonFly as well, something we weren't going to do. I've seen a lot of people say, excuse me, a lot of people will say online, hey, the original DragonFly dock stretcher snapped right onto it, and it'd be cool if you gave us dock. Well, if they don't give us dock, maybe they can give us a stretcher. That'd be a cool little accessory to have. Or maybe they give us Lifeline or dock as a figure, but they also include the stretcher because it's not coming with the figure. I don't know, but I can see them, if it blows through all the tiers, they're going to throw something else on. That's how it's going to happen. And it's not going to be anything big, but it's going to be something that everybody gets. So, the only other point I really think I wanted to talk about tonight, let's see, we talked about the nagging feeling I had, how quickly it took off, where we think it's going to land, total number of backers, San Diego ComicCon, how that can play into it. What was that other thing I wanted to mention? You know me, I don't really run on a script, but I do run on likes. So make sure you hit that like on the old YouTube, because this video needs the likes. I'm going for 500 subscribers. If you subscribe, I'm going to be doing a giveaway once I hit 500 subscribers. So what do you got to lose? Absolutely nothing. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You have a chance to win a GI Joe Retro Crimson Guard Classified Series, or a Crimson Bat Classified Series, or one of 3 other prizes that I haven't even announced yet. So be on the lookout for that. But that still did not give me enough time to remember what the final thing I wanted to talk about was with the HasLab, and it seemed like it was fairly important. So I just had to jump over real quick and see what the current count was, see if I could collect my thoughts. I did want to talk about the next unlocks for a brief amount of time. I'm not sure that was my final talking point, but I did want to talk about it because I do have my own thoughts. They're probably not right, but I'm hoping they are, because that'd make me feel good. I think outside of the Night Force Ripcord, which I think is a very cool choice, by the way, I like that it's a throwback to the Sky Striker HasLab. And Night Force is my favorite sub-team for the most part. I do like Tiger Force a lot, but Night Force is really my jam. Ripcord's great. At 16,000, I'm going to... Let me step back. I think the 19,000 will be Airborne, because everybody wants Airborne. So it makes sense to push him to the end. Now, a lot of people have said you can't make Airborne... You can't put Airborne behind a paywall. And I disagree. You can put Airborne behind a paywall, and I'll tell you why. Because Airborne, that's a figure, if you release him... Now, on the off chance they do an Airborne as Night Force, that's one thing. But I'm saying he's going to be regular Airborne, and the only way you're going to get him is through this HasLab. It's incentive to get people to get the HasLab. Yes, it puts you behind a paywall to get your, if Airborne was your favorite character, and some people he was not a character I had a lot of affinity to, but that's just me. But if you really want to sell the HasLab, you put someone behind a paywall and say you can only get this figure by doing this HasLab. And we've seen it done before. It doesn't mean that if he doesn't get reached, they won't release him anyway at some point. But you put someone behind a paywall that someone would really want. And they can still do an alternate version of him later. Now, some people are saying, well, maybe it would be a Night Force Airborne. And it could be, and I would be okay with that as well. But I think he will be the last character Airborne. He will be the unlock at 19,000. So, who's that leave in the middle at 16,000? I've seen it thrown up, hey... They announced Cobra Commander at the end of near the end of the His Tank as it was still going. You pick the number 1 bad guy, so who do you pick for the number 1 good guy? And you put General Hawk as the other unlockable. Now, General Hawk, think it's pretty safe to say everyone likes General Hawk. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think it's General Hawk before I tell you who my actual choice is. General Hawk's already been announced. They're making a General Hawk. Now, they could do a Night Force General Hawk, I suppose. I don't think you put any character in a HasLab that's already scheduled. I just don't think you do it. So, it could be General Hawk. I've seen people say it's going to be General Hawk. That makes sense. And it does make sense. So maybe you do a General Hawk Night Force edition. That'd be kind of cool, but he's not really a Night Force guy. He never has been. So I don't think that's it. I'm excited to see who they are because it's a great game of guessing right now. My guess is it's going to be a medic, and my guess is probably it's going to be Doc. I can see Doc being one. The only reason I can see it not being Doc and maybe being Lifeline is that Doc, out of the two medics, I think there's more people in the camp of Doc than there is in Lifeline. Although I love both of them. When I was watching the cartoon show, I liked Doc because Doc was just the doctor. Like, that's his name. He's the Doc. And I liked Lifeline mostly because of his pacifistic nature. And for some reason, I was just like, oh, he's a really weird dude. He's a GI Joe that doesn't use guns or anything. And that must be tough. And so I like both of them. And again, I probably lean towards Doc just a little bit more. But I do fully believe we'll get a medic. For the reason I mentioned earlier, also for if you give us the stretcher, we can snap it onto the DragonFly, and I think that'd be a cool scene to have. Other thoughts is that they'll throw a Cobra in for one of those extra slots. I don't see that happening. Maybe as some crazy, like, super stretch goal, if they decide to go that route. If they decide to say, hey, if you hit 25,000, we'll throw a Cobra baddie in there for you. And I have no idea who that would be, so I'm not going to even entertain that idea. But, you know, they didn't they do that with the his tank? Didn't they throw a good guy in? No, they didn't throw a good guy in. Those were all bad guys. They did that with the Sky Striker. They threw Cobras and Joes together. But that was to make the whole plane be a Cobra plane if you wanted it to be. So yeah, there's my official choices. You're going to have, obviously, Ripcord. Well, Wild Bill, Ripcord, Doc or Lifeline, more than likely Doc. And finally, how am I spacing this? Seriously, how am I spacing this? Airborne. I do think Airborne is going to be the final unlock. If he's not, and he's the middle one, I will be very surprised by that choice because it doesn't make a lot of sense in my head. But I also thought this thing was going to be $400 or $500, and it didn't turn out to be that either. So, with that said, it's just sitting at a hair under 11,000. Fully expect that to be surpassed in the night. I would imagine within the next, I would say by the weekend, into this weekend, the $13,000 tier will be unlocked. We'll have Night Force, and we'll get an announcement for the next unlock. Hopefully it happens before Friday afternoon. That way they can actually post it. Even though I think they've posted stuff on weekends before. I mean, don't keep the crowd waiting through the weekend. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Get on here, share my thoughts. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting that like button. Look forward to talking to you guys soon. More about GI Joe, more about Star Wars, more about Marvel Legends, more about any toys I feel like I needed to pick up in the last week to talk about. Masters Universe, Batman, you name it. It's probably finding its way into my room somewhere. But yeah, otherwise I will see you guys later. This is Mark with Coffee and Toys. Have a good evening, everybody.